Alright, so today we're going to be talking about film form, and basically film form is just the system of relationships between the different parts of a film. So like it depends on the type of film as well. So if we got like a narrative, then we're going to have like the narrative structure where we go through the individual event in the story. But then if we had like a documentary, we just go through different facts and the structure of it would be different. So that's just film form in general. Alright, so the way we actually make the film form is by combining the image, the sound, and the narrative all into some kind of meaning or some kind of emotional impact for the viewer. And the thing, what's really good about film form is that viewers are able to expect certain things. So like we see like a certain pattern based on certain film forms, such as, for example, horror, where when we have like a certain quiet scene, like maybe like some people are like subtly, silently walking, we have like that underlying feeling that something's gonna happen at any moment. All right, and so satisfaction is when we actually fulfill those expectations, or we subvert them. Like maybe all that fear was just for nothing, for example. So we have the four basic principles of film form, and that's the function, where every single little element will add to the story in some way. For example, the fact that a chair is in a position might not seem too important, but it adds to like the structure that maybe you're in a classroom. Or something more obvious, like there's a camera, maybe that means that facility is very heavily guarded, or like you're being watched. You have that feeling of being watched. And then we've also got similarity and repetition. This is where you have like a repeating object or saying that's been said throughout the movie. For example, if we're looking at Citizen Kane, we have the snow globe, which doesn't seem important initially, but when we go through the story, we can finally get to the end where the snow has been recurring and recurring. We now know that all that is because Rosebud is like his childhood sled back when it was snowing at his home when he first got taken away. And then next, we've got differences and variations. So this is like differences between characters. For example, Leland and Kane. How Leland was like raised was a lot different compared to Kane, because Leland lost everything, and therefore he has like stronger morals in comparison to Kane, where he's like, I'm gonna throw away my previous statements that I'd written in order to continue my desire for more power. And we have those contrasts, and that just creates like more conflicts. It allows for different like styles, and overall just more vibrance to the film. And then we have development. So development is just the beginning, middle, and end of the narrative, and it's gonna be like stylistic in how like we change the lighting or the different aspects of the pacing. And so that's just overall like how fast we want to develop the story, how we want things to look, or like how things will change as we progress. So now let's look at two different parts of film form that will that just ties everything together, and that's how unified or disunified the overall film is. And each of these will tell you a different story. So of course, unity is like how everything's going to like work together with each other. Like in a library, we're gonna have the books, we're going to have the shelves, we're gonna have desks where people can work. It's all unified, everything seems to belong. But if we want to create some kind of disjointed feel, like say we were doing some psychological thriller, right? We might have things hanging off the ceilings, or maybe some weird substance that's just in the corner. We have these little disjointing things, or we can maybe have like party balloons in one corner and like a dead body in the next. It creates this weird kind of feeling that could be the goal for the psychological thriller. Next, let's look at the meaning. And so the meaning, there's four different sections of meaning. So there's the referential meaning. And this is just basically what the summary of the plot is itself. And overall, when we know that summary, we can refer back to like the original ideas as things get presented in the story. So, for example, in Citizen Kane, when we get that initial showing of what's happening, and then we can refer back to that when they play the actual detailed scenes of what actually happened in each of those scenarios. Then we have explicit meaning, and this is just any message that they directly will say to you. For example, if some guy shoots the other guy, then it's like the meaning is, don't rob the guy with a gun. I guess that could be an explicit meaning, right? Because the robber got shot. So that would be an explicit meaning. But an implicit meaning would be like a deeper interpretation instead. So maybe instead it could be like, It could mean something like all the big capitalist people, right? They own the big companies. They'll destroy any of the smaller companies completely and utterly. This could be like a real world interpretation of that of that robbery scene. And then we've got symptomatic meaning, and this is just, well, yeah, this is like the broader social or cultural value. I guess that's what I meant by, that was my description for implicit. That was actually for symptomatic. Implicit is just like anything that's like not directly said, but it's well implied. All right. Yeah, that's all for today. All right. Hope you enjoyed. Subscribe for more daily rants about whatever I learned.